Okay, once again, my lovely G11s and G12s, your favorite uncle is back again with the quadratic problem here. They didn't give us the pattern, but they gave us a few of some data which we can use to make or try and solve the pattern and get what the pattern looks like. So please subscribe, share, and follow and like for more, for your favorite uncle to continue putting more content. So let's look at this problem. Then we have a question here. They say a certain quadratic pattern has the following characteristics, which is the data given here. We don't have the sequence, but a bit of some data they gave us so that we can have a direction of what to do. So we have term number 1, T1, they are saying it's a P, T2 it's a 18, T4 it's a 4, T1, T3 minus T2, which is a 10, but T3 we are term number 3 they didn't give us, they just gave us the first difference here. As you can see, term number 3 minus term number 2, a term minus the previous term is always the first difference according to the quadratic pattern, as your favorite uncle taught you on the previous videos. So let's look at this data and see what we come out with. So our goal is to get the value of P, as the question says, determine the value of P. So what we will do, we'll first collect the data. We have term number 1, term number 2, the term number 3, the term number 4, and so on and so forth. So what do we know about term number 1? Term number 1, they're saying it's just the P, right? So we just put the P there. Then we go for term number 2. What do we know about term number 2? Term number 2, it's a 18, right? It's a 18. Then what is term number 3? They didn't give us term number 3. But okay, what we can do, this is what we can do, meaning we'll skip term number 3 since they didn't give us. Then let's look at term number 4. What is term number 4? Term number 4 is 41, right? So meaning it's 41. Since it's 41, meaning it's 4 multiplied the term of term number 1, meaning since for term number 1 we have a P, meaning for term number 4 we will have a 4P, right? A 4P. But here I can see something which can make things easier for us. So okay, but let's continue with this one. So this, since this is a quadratic, I think what else, for term number 1 we filled in, for term number 2 we filled in, for term number 4 we did fill in again. But this one, the term number 3 minus term number 2 is equals to 10. That's the first difference. So the first difference, which is a linear, we all know that. Your favorite uncle told you that the first difference is always a linear, and the second difference, it's a constant value. So our first difference is T2 minus T1 is always that term minus the previous term. So it's a 18 minus the P. Then we go for this one, which we don't have. So but they told us that term number 3 minus term number 2 is equals to the 10, meaning this one minus this one which is missing minus this one must give us a 10, right? So it must give us a 10. So we also now know that, okay, we have a 4p. So is there anything else? Term number 1 we used the p, term number 2 we used the 18, the term number 4 we used the 4p, and this we used to get the 10. So all the data given, we now used it. So let's go to our information which we have, which we managed to collect via the data, and see what we can do. So let's try and find the second difference. This is the sequence which we managed to come out with when looking at the data, and this is the first difference. As we all know, a quadratic, we have the sequence, we have the first difference, and we have the constant second difference. Okay, this is the first difference. So what do we have for the second difference? It will be a 10, this term minus this term, right? It will be a 10 minus the 18 negative p. So it will be a 10 minus the 18 plus the p, right? Because the negative goes inside, it becomes a positive, a negative and a negative, it forms a positive. So 10 minus the 18, it gives us a negative 8 plus the p. So we now know that the second difference is a minus 8 plus a p, right? But we all know again that the first difference it forms a linear, but the second difference is always constant, meaning even here it's still the negative 8 plus p. To go from the 10 to the next term of this linear one, the first difference, it will take us negative 8 plus p, since we have the second difference as a constant number. This is the second difference. This is the second difference. So as we know, the second difference is constant. So again, even if we go that side, it's still constant, it remains constant. The second difference remains constant, meaning if we look at this data now, and your favorite uncle on the previous videos showed you how to get the next term. So how do we get the next term? We get the next term by saying the previous term minus plus the first difference plus the second difference, then we get the next term. So meaning to get term number 3, term number 3 is equals to the 18. We have our 18 there, plus the 18 minus p, plus 18 minus p, then plus the negative 8. We put a bracket there in order for the signs to correspond well. So let's get our term number 3. So 18 plus 18, it gives us a 36, minus the p, then we have a plus here, meaning it will come out as it is, minus 8, then plus the p, right? Then let's get our term number 3. 36 minus the 8, it gives us a 28, right? Then p, negative p plus p, they cancel, so we are left with a 28, meaning term number 3 is a 28, isn't it? So we now know that term number 3 is a 28, meaning we can fill it in there. So we now know our pattern or our sequence goes like p, 18, 28, then 4p. So since we managed to come out with this information, so we now know that, again, we know that the difference here, the next term of this linear pattern will be 4p minus the 28, which we now know 4p minus the 28, right? So we now know, but the first difference, since it's a linear, meaning let's take it as our next our sequence. Let's take it as a sequence which we can use to solve the p. So we now know on that linear pattern which is here, which is hiding here as the first difference, we will have the 18 minus p, we will have the 10, and we will have the 4p minus the 28. So remember, this, it forms a linear one or an arithmetic one, as grade 12s are also watching. So but we all know the arithmetic or the linear one, term number 2 minus term number 1 is equals to term number 3 minus the term number 2, which is the difference, right? So term number 2, we have the 10, minus term number 1, we have a 18 minus p, which is a 18 minus p, is equals to term number 3. Term number 3, it's a 4p minus 28. It's a 4p minus a 28. Then minus our term number 2. Term number 2, it's a 10. So let's see where does it take us. 10, then the negative goes inside, it comes up with the negative 18. The negative goes inside, it comes up with the positive p. Then we have the 4p there, minus the 28 minus 10. What's left now? The only thing left here is us solving for the p, right? So let's take all the constant numbers to the left and take the p to the right for to make things easier, right? So 10 minus the 18, we take the 28 to the left hand side, it becomes a positive 28. We take the negative 10 to the other side, it becomes a positive 10, is equals to the 4p. Then this p goes to the other side, it becomes a negative p. So let's punch all this on our calculators and see what do we come out with. So 10 minus the 28 plus the 28 plus the 10, it gives us a 30, right? We come up with a 30. So we got 30, then is equals to 4p minus the p, we get that it's a 3p. So now we got that 3p is equals to 30. So we isolate the p by dividing both sides by the 3, so that we can get the value of p. We divide both sides by the 3, then we all know that 30 divided by 3 is a 10, right? So we got that p is equals to 10. So let's test it on our sequence there. So if p is equals to 10, it means that we will have a pattern which p is 10. Then we know that our term number 2, it's a 18. We also know that term number 3, it's a 28. And term number 4, it's a 4p, which is 4 multiplied by 10, which is a 40. So let's see if it makes sense. So we are just testing if our p is a correct. 18 minus 10, it gives us a 8. If it's correct, we are gonna get a linear here. The constant must be the second difference must be constant. So the 28 minus 18, we get a 10, right? So the 40 minus the 28, we get a 12, right? This is our first difference. If our our p is a 10. We got that this is our first difference. Then our second difference here will be 10 minus 8, we get a 2. The 12 minus 10, we also get a 2. As we can see, the first difference, it forms a linear pattern, and the second difference, it gives us a constant number. So it makes sense, meaning this p is correct. The p is equals to 10 because it made sense, it worked for us. So yeah, your favorite uncle just wanted to show you how to solve it when they didn't give you the sequence. They just gave you a few of some data. You just have to follow what they say and come out with a solution which you can use to solve. So both grade 11s and grade 12, please practice this one and make sure you understand it, even though I got it from the previous question papers of grade 11. But also in grade 12, all this applies. Problems like this, they come. So yeah, so thank you. This is your favorite uncle showing you how to solve this. So please subscribe, share and follow for more content. Thank you.